Yeah, I completely agree. I think the whole approach that SEOs take with keyword research is still very, very much useful. It's fundamental. But I'm seeing that, well, let me backtrack. We as a community, we've almost sort of like trained business leaders to think of SEO in terms of keywords, links from back in the day, and rankings. All right. So that's what they tend to focus on. How are my rankings doing? I think what you just mentioned there, you mentioned a couple of important terms, intent, purpose, and page. I think that is and has always been the focus. I mean, Google ranks pages, they don't rank keywords. And the value of pages is a lot more important than what are the keywords the page is ranking for. Or in fact, the way a lot of business leaders look at it, what is the main keyword this page is ranking for? It's actually better to look at pages and say, okay, what's the value of this page? And I think SEOs are slowly moving into that. But business leaders are still stuck on this approach where they focus on keywords, the main keywords for pages and the rankings of those keywords, where it's very quickly, I think, going to change. And it leads into this sort of like educational process that's always needed with SEO, not just for SEOs, but non-SEOs as well. In fact, maybe more importantly for non-SEOs. Now, I see you do a lot of training, SEO training. How important, in your opinion, is SEO training for non-SEOs?
So for me, that question has a scale, and it's about how much you think about, and within the business you're in charge of SEO, you think about SEO, or it affects what you're doing. So let's give an example here. I work quite regularly with e-commerce brands. I'm sure I do something similar, working with people selling on online shops. Now, when it comes to those, you often have a marketing team who you think, SEO is really important because they want to understand, driving traffic to important pages, improving things, doing the things that we do, as I said about, learning and be able to do things themselves, important skills for them to develop, sure. But then you also have a product team who are the ones who are in charge of sourcing products, putting them on the website, running the back-end feeds and so on. You might have a merchandising team who actually are in charge of putting collections together and things like that. You've also probably got an IT team who are actually in charge of making the whole thing work and so on. For SEO to work on that website, all four teams of those I've just mentioned there, not to mention the bosses, need to understand SEO. Now, it affects them all in different ways. But what you want is you don't want them all thinking of SEO as this annoying nagging thing that's happening in the background, telling them to improve things all the time. You want it to be that SEO for them is just an opportunity. It's something they understand, so that whenever they're doing their work, it's not something they have to think about. It's already baked into their in-house processes. We're talking about things about like governance documents and process documents here, but it's this idea that the merchandising team, whenever they put up a new collection, they need to make sure that page is optimized, or they're speaking to the team who will optimize it for them. And how it relates to then the rest of the website. And also what happens when that collection, let's say it's the summer collection, summer 2023 collection, what happens when they want to remove that page or that collection's finished? What happens to it then? It can't just sit there. Just as a quick example. So for teams like that, for non-SEOs, if they're a part of a website business that survives through organic traffic, at least partly, they need to understand it, at least enough to understand the nuts and bolts of how it works, and also how those processes affect what they do. So, and it goes both ways, how SEO can help them do their job better. If I'm a product team, I might be able to see through search which products are popular right now, so I can buy more of those for my website, and vice versa. If I do a good job with my products, that makes the marketing team's job easier, which means we can rank better, and so on. So it's, it's a relationship, it's reciprocal. So I think for teams like that, it's really important to, as an SEO coming in with a business, to identify how many people in the business you need to build those relationships with. That's important. And then with bosses, it's about, again, as you mentioned, kind of alluded to before, a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous. So what you want to do with these people is understand what they need to understand about SEO, what level they want to do, and then you build things for them that helps them do their job really well. So they can understand everything they need to, they can speak to people in their team and have conversations even without you, and you can develop things that way. It can be tricky because I've said this to a couple of people recently, but there's actually no such thing as SEO as a tangible item. I can't go to the shops and pick up some SEO off the shelf. I can't call somebody up and say, "Can I buy 17 gallons of SEO?" I can't do this. So for SEO to work with a website, especially one that a business of any kind of size with multiple teams, you can't do much yourself. You have to rely on the goodwill of everybody else. And also you come in and stick your oar in everybody else's business. I come in and tell the marketing team their copy's not good enough. I come in and tell the IT team that their XML sitemaps are all garbage. I come in and tell the merchandising team they're creating pointless categories and they're cannibalizing each other. You can basically be quite negative because you're coming in and, as I say, sticking your into everyone's business and telling them what they're doing wrong. So what you want to do, if you want to be successful as an SEO, is you want to work with these people, get them all on side so that it starts humming, it becomes this harmonious machine. It's humming, it's generating business, it's doing well within that setup that they have. And often that will be different with every client you work with. There'll be similarities, but you've got to build it each time. And that can be quite hard work, but it's actually one of the more valuable things. So to go back to your original question, how much knowledge do people need? Well, it's however much for them to do their jobs properly and to know and understand it, and for SEO to be a positive in their lives rather than a negative. That's how I would put it.